भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामीत भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. Thank you very much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Well, close the door. Welcome to the European Prabhupadanuga Festival 2023 once again. We're very, very happy to have you here. And Janas Priya Prabhu is here. Janas Priya Prabhu is here, and he never sleeps. We're learning about him. Yes, he attends every single class, even though he's like 12 hours behind. Yeah. So we're just waiting for Ishan Prabhu. There was a slight change of program due to my mistake. I booked Janas Priya Prabhu in two classes, same class at the same time. So Ishan Prabhu, if he comes, will be here. In the meantime, what we can have is Janas Priya Prabhu there.
For some reason, some confusion, because she said it's 11:15 in New Mexico, and we worked it out as 8 hours behind. Everyone was in agreement, but he'll be here in half an hour.
Okay.
So we just do something for half an hour. I just do time for half an hour.
Okay, no problem.
And,
Okay, so Janas Priya Prabhu.
Yes.
Would you mind sharing us some Prabhupada pastimes?
All right. My favorite.
Who's
My
speaking?
favorite.
And then Ishan Prabhu.
Ishan?
yeah.
Together.
No, after. First, Janas Priya.
Okay, class has started. You don't ask me these things now. Go on.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Please accept my humble obeisances, and I'm very happy to be in your association. I'm becoming attached to this family. Very happy to
We're
be-
becoming one.
Hey, Mayavadi.
Yeah, we are one.
And?
And same times not.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was following Prabhupada in Atlanta, Prabhupada asked for a drum. He wanted to teach us a new song. I think it was Udilo Aruna. And so he asked for a drum. So they brought his drum, and Prabhupada hit it one time and it was flat. And Prabhupada said, "This is useless." So they ran and they brought another drum. This is winter time, so the Indian mridangas made out of leather. They go flat when it's cold, and Prabhupada hit it the same thing. And then he just hit it another time. He hit it like 3 times. And each time he hit it, the drum started tuning up normal, like to regular pitch. So that was like a miracle right in front of my eyes.
Leave it open.
Yeah.
So that
Let
was,
Gregory, let them benefit. They will benefit.
it was so nice to hear. I never seen Prabhupada play the drum to that time, and I wanted to see him play the drum. So he taught us the song, and I guess they just have installed the Gorney Tai deities in the Atlanta temple at the time. So he gave a talk on Gorney Tai. And that's when I got to ask the question, how could we please you the most? And that's such a nice instruction because it's so suitable, you know? And that's the whole idea of Bhakti Yoga, is to get to love Krishna. That's the goal. Somehow or other, we have to understand that I might think that I'm the supreme enjoyer, but in reality, I'm not really enjoying, I'm just simply suffering. And especially being in a delusion, if we're in the delusion that we're the supreme enjoyers, then the suffering becomes more real. Just like the karmis, they don't know anything, and they think they're the supreme enjoyers. So they start. Prabhupada used to tell us all the time, when you get old, you'll understand what mean being old is. And you Prabhus are still kind of youngish. But once you get over 65, 70, the body is material, so unless you took like, if you were like a real yogi doing hatha yoga and doing some kind of very good exercise and eating real good, but most general temple prasadam is actually a lot of sugar and a lot of things, which is all right. You know, there's one pastime, but Prabhupada went to Laguna.
Janice Priya Prabhu, just to tell you, Ishan Prabhu is here. So when
All
you're
right.
ready to finish, go ahead.
Yeah, I just tell this one short
Yeah, yeah.
pastime.
Please.
Prabhupada went to Laguna Beach.
He's
And
not
Nanda
here.
Kumar was the temple president, and he was a health food
Right.
freak.
Right.
Here, that's him.
But
And
Ishan is coming. We had 2 alarm clocks and then neither of them went off. Give him about 3 minutes.
Oh. Yeah. Sorry, sorry.
yeah, Prabhupada went to the Laguna Beach temple, and Nanda Kumar was the temple president, and he was a health food freak. And he didn't have any sugar in the temple. They were eating like raw diet. And Prabhupada knew, of course, he knew everything. So Prabhupada is giving class, and Prabhupada said, I want a cup of sugar. And they all look at each other and they freak out because there was no sugar to give to Prabhupada. So somebody had to run to the store, got some sugar, and they put, Prabhupada wanted a cup of sugar. They gave him a cup of sugar and a spoon, and Prabhupada started eating the sugar out of the cup with a spoon.
Wow.
And Prabhupada said, Krishna is not a sick, Krishna is not a sick man. He does not need health foods. He's very healthy.
Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So that's Prabhupada. You know, he didn't, Prabhupada told it like it is. That's what his Bhagavad Gita as it is. He didn't fool around. Hare Krishna.
Haribo. Yeah, I think Ishan is here, but just we need 1 minute. Yeah, it's funny, that brings up a nice, interesting point, not to get into any controversy, but just to show this, is how some members in ISKCON, even leaders in ISKCON now, are starting to promote vegan diet, and there are even some devotees and people coming to the point where they're refusing to offer milk products to Krishna. So that's a real one that we need to sort of share nicely with our friends, not to do that, and give them this example how Srila Prabhupada took direct sugar and said Krishna doesn't need health foods. So, you know, you may want to be vegan or you may not want to drink milk, but Krishna as devotional service gets his milk and gets his sugar and all the wonderful.
Prabhupada said, give Krishna his sugar. He likes it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to eat it, he said diet is a very personal thing. So some devotees, they want to be on a specific diet, that's fine, he said. As long as their diet helps them be healthy too, so they could preach, that's excellent.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada did appreciate the raw diet. Nanda Kumar had Prabhupada on a raw diet for a day or so, and Prabhupada liked it. He said, yeah, this is very nice, he says, but we like our dairy and we like our sugar. But all within, you know, we could eat everything, just don't need a gallon of sweet rice, you know, have a cup. Everything with measure.
And what's your problem?
Oh, there I am.
Haribol.
Turn that light on.
Yes. Hare Krishna. One second.
Okay, we have to understand that for Ishan, this is midnight now, where he's staying. So it's 12 o'clock at night, almost something like that. So again, huge sacrifice he's performing to serve us, as he always does, always sacrificing to serve the devotees. So without wasting any more time, Ishan Prabhu is here. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for giving us this wonderful association. The floor is yours.
Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Deshatarine. Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema, Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane, Gauratashe Namaha. Namo Brahmanaya Devaya, Go Brahmanya Hitayacha, Jagadhitai Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsi Devi, Priyaye Keshavasya Cha, Vishnu Bhakti Prali Devi, Satyabhachai Namo Namaha. Yani Kani Chapapani Brahmahatya Dakani Cha, Tani Tani Pranasyanti, Pradakshina Pade Pade. Hey Krishna, Korna Sindhu Dinabandho, Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate, Tapta Kanchana Gorange, Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Sindhu Vyaivacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
We thank you.
So, in our previous talks, we talked about how much Krishna appreciates Brahminical culture, how much Krishna appreciates, and again, as Srila Prabhupada says, keeping the four regulative principles, it's just the bare minimum attributes or qualifications of a Brahmin, and that real Brahminical life is an inside job. Real Brahminical life is the condition of the heart which is free of material desire and free of lamentation. And he's free of material desire and free of lamentation because he's on the Brahmabhuta platform, the Brahman platform. Therefore, he's a Brahmana. He's on the Brahman platform and he feels joyful within the heart. Prasanatma, Brahmabhuta, Prasanatma, na sochati, no material desire, na kankshati, no material lamentation. He's not looking into the future for how I can fulfill myself. And he's not looking into the past, if only things had been different. He's now in the present moment feeling joyful in his heart. And Krishna says, and because he's joyful in his heart, Atmavan Manyate Jagat, Srila Prabhupada says, that he sees the whole world in terms of the condition of his own heart and mind. Therefore, he sees Samasarveshu Bhuteshu. He sees all living entities in the nicest way. And Krishna says, then he can begin to become my devotee, Mad Bhakti. Huh?
Ask for that to be open.
Okay. I can hear you. Mad Bhakti, that's all right. Mad Bhakti Labhate Param. As Krishna says, now one can start from this platform, one can begin to be a devotee. So, and what is that first quality of the heart? In 1842, Bhagavad Gita, the first quality is inner peace of the heart. Samodama tapasocham shantir arvajivam evacha. So this first quality, sama, inner peace. He's peaceful. He's not peaceful because he should be peaceful. He's not peaceful because he's trying to be peaceful. He's peaceful because he has peace within his heart. And again, in the previous chapter, that's in the 18th chapter. In the previous chapter, 17:17, Krishna explains that the austerity of the Brahman, the austerity of the Brahman, the austerity of the mind, mana prasada. Mana prasada means satisfaction of the mind. Or, as Srila Prabhupada says in the verse itself, serenity. Serenity of the heart. He's not being satisfied by virtue of determination, trying to be austere. He's satisfied. He's feeling full within himself. This is the quality, and as we read in the chapter in Krishna book, where the Brahmana comes to visit Krishna on behalf of Rukmini, Krishna worships the Brahman. He actually gets off. Krishna is sitting on a golden throne. He gets off the golden throne and he puts the Brahmana, the poor Brahmana, on that throne. And after the Brahman has been fed and has a little rest, he puts the Brahman on a beautiful bread. And as the Brahman is taking rest, Krishna comes and he takes the legs of the Brahmana and puts them on his lap and he starts to massage the Brahmana's legs. And he tells the Brahman why he's worshiping him. He said, because the Brahman has this quality of satisfaction within the heart. And again, this satisfaction, he's not telling himself, I'll deny myself this, and I'll deny myself that. I'll simply be satisfied. He is satisfied. He's feeling satisfaction within his heart. It's the Brahminic, this is the mode of goodness. So Krishna, this is the real quality of the mode of goodness. This is the detachment that the mode of goodness provides. No, na sochati, na kankshati, no hankering, no lamentation, feeling equal towards all living entities, and able to have devotional feelings within the heart. So a Brahmana is qualified to become a Vaishnava. So we were talking about how to do that. So have we been, let's see, that anyone can do this in any moment. One can give up the mind, the little surface mind that's searching. Why is one thinking of his to-do list? Why is one thinking about how things went yesterday or how someone treated him yesterday? Why does one carry resentment? Why does one have envious feelings? Why is one fault finding? The mind is seeking happiness. The mind is seeking fulfillment. But there's happiness in the mode of ignorance, happiness in the mode of passion, and happiness in the mode of goodness. This is explained by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So this happiness of the Brahman, this joyfulness of the heart, this is required as a prerequisite to a devotional feeling, devotional mood. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada again and again and again, he said that he's creating a society of Brahmins, because Brahmins can become devotees. As long as one is looking for satisfaction outside of himself, he cannot be devotional. It's only a self-satisfied person who is joyful within, who can extend that serving mood to others. And that love is simply the demeanor of the heart, wherein one takes pleasure in the happiness and the well-being of another without having any desire for anything in return. It's just his natural demeanor. And under the guidance of a pure devotee, and receiving when he tells us, Srila Prabhupada tells us, that serving mood, that spontaneous serving mood that arises from the mode of goodness, wherein one wants to feed the poor, one wants to open hospitals, one wants to give clothes to those who need it, one wants to open educational institutions, where one takes pleasure in the well-being of others. Those are all illusory objects. Illusory objects are affection, and that same affection, that very same affection, if transferred to the service of the pure devotee and the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, becomes devotional service. So to live in satisfaction is a choice. Actually, Krishna says in 1717 that this is the austerity of the Brahmin. Not to sit at the edge of a glacier in the water, frozen water up to his neck, not to sit surrounded by blazing fires in the summertime, but the austerity of the Brahmin, the austerity of the mind, Krishna says in 1717, is to hold this feeling of inner satisfaction, inner peace within the heart. Shama, mana prasada, prasanatma. So today we have a lot of technology. In our vehicles, now they're making vehicles that have no driver. There is going to be some incidents down the road for sure when computers fail. But in these vehicles, they have what is called cruise control. You set at what speed the vehicle will run, and you don't have to adjust it. with your foot pedal. So this is the cruise control of the Brahmin. He's cruising through life with satisfaction in his heart. He never has a difficulty with any living entity. Samasarveshu bhuteshu. He sees the dog and the dog eater, then it's on the same level. The Brahmin, he sees the elephant. He sees all living beings as pure spirit soul because he feels himself like unto the sun as am I. He experiences himself like that. And Srila Prabhupada explains, Atmavan Manyate Jagat. He sees the whole creation, Jagat, in terms of Atmavan. He possesses that mentality, Atmavan. Manyate, he sees that whole creation in terms of the quality of his own heart. And therefore he has love for all living beings. And this is his cruise control. Then we can talk about why the different, why there are so many divisions between different groups of devotees. When this Brahminical quality is there, because we're not on that platform sufficiently, therefore there are so many differences. So we have to become devotees. It's only, how shall we say, it's a symptom of our devotional acquisition, as our devotional qualification, that automatically will be at peace with everyone. Of course, certain things we have to, Srila Prabhupada says, if something is wrong and we don't speak up, then we're as guilty as those who are wrong. So we have to understand Srila Prabhupada. Who is Srila Prabhupada? Shakya Vaishavatar, Shakshadari Tvina Samasta Shastra Uktastatava Bhyatai Vasadi Kintu Pravoja Priya Eva Tasya Bande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. That only from the Mahabhagavata devotee can one come to the position of spontaneous love of God. As Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport to the 10th canto, that initiation, what is that initiation? He says one must receive that. How did Krishna enter the womb of Devaki? Janmashtami is coming very soon, September. How did Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, actually enter the womb of Devaki? He was transferred from the heart of Vasudeva into the heart of Devaki. Srila Prabhupada says, this is Diksha. This is what Diksha means, that we receive Krishna in our heart. But Srila Prabhupada says in that purport that therefore the quality of the spiritual master, the bona fide, is that he must be someone who carries Krishna within his heart 24 hours, constant. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada says that Diksha is not some formality, some ceremony that that now now I'm initiated. Initiation means the beginning, to initiate something, to start something. Initiation, Srila Prabhupada says, is the beginning of a heart-to-heart connection with a pure devotee, a heart-to-heart connection. To feel Srila Prabhupada's presence in our life, heart to heart, from moment to moment. So, how are we doing? How are we moving through life? Where is our cruise? What is the setting on our cruise control? The cruise control setting in our own hearts. Are we feeling joyful? Are we feeling love for all living entities? What to speak of those who are trying to be Vaishnava, cultivating Krishna consciousness? What is our cruise? So, are we practicing Manaprasada? We should monitor ourselves. Or is our mind furtively thinking here and there, this and that, the past, how it didn't work, how it could have been better, and the future, if I can only obtain this, this, and that, achieve this, this, and that, finish my whole to-do list, and having so much anxiety. The world lives in anxiety because they're trying to derive their satisfaction from so many things outside of themselves. This satisfaction is not dependent on any external condition, the satisfaction of the heart. Its satisfaction is an inside job, and Krishna and our spiritual master, they encourage us to come to this platform and go through life on this platform. So we can't say enough. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada wanted to create a society of Brahmins, and there would automatically be. So we were talking about different subjects. I wanted to talk about what is the difference between the two words, objective and subjective. Can somebody look that up or Google that on their computer and explain the difference between the words objective and subjective? Can anyone do that for me now and speak it? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Ishan
Yes.
What is
Gregory Case.
What is the meaning, the difference of the two words, objective and subjective?
Hmm? Oh, come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be right, could be wrong, no problem.
It says,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, subjective relates to personal viewpoints, experience, or perspectives, whereas objective refers to factual data that is not influenced by personal beliefs or biases. Hopefully that's a good. Sorry, that was the first thing that came up. But
so there's two kinds of instruction. This is explained in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Prabhupada. There's objective instruction and subjective instruction. Bhagavad Gita is filled with objective instruction. It's concepts, philosophy, sambandha, and subjective has to do with the feelings in the heart, how we experience things. So Srila Prabhupada says there's two kinds of spiritual masters. There's one gives objective instruction, and another gives subjective instruction. He teaches us how to feel. And this is how Lord Chaitanya taught Krishna consciousness. Here. Here is a verse from people that have, yes.
Ishan Prabhu,
I beg your pardon?
which verse are you going to read?
Oh, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 2, text 81.
Ishan Prabhu. I found also something which looks like a better definition to fit what you were trying to look for here. And it says here, subjective is the personal, subjective is the preferences of a person, whereas objective is something that is not based on a personal viewpoint. You see? So the preferences, like what Prabhupada would prefer, what Krishna would prefer, what they prefer, like that.
It has to do with feeling, with emotion. It's subjective.
It's subjective. Yeah.
It's not simply factual philosophy. So you want to bring up this text, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 2, verse 81. This is an explanation of subjective instruction. How did Lord Chaitanya teach love of Krishna? We say, Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate, that he's more magnanimous than any other avatar because he's teaching what no other avatar has even offered before. He's teaching, he's sharing this love of Krishna and giving it freely. Have we ever asked ourselves, if Lord Chaitanya is giving freely this ecstatic love of God, he's giving it freely, why I don't have it? Have we ever asked that question? So here is the description of Lord Chaitanya's subjective instruction, written by Krishna Dasa. Prabhu, you read this verse and I'll hear it, okay?
Okay, yeah, gotcha. Do you want me to read the translation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Slowly and out loud.
Absolutely. And you tell me, just stop any time. Okay, translate His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. By personally tasting the mellows ahead, Mahaprabhu taught his direct disciples the process. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a wealthy capitalist, possessing the touchstone of love of God, not considering whether one is proper or improper recipient. He gives his treasure to anyone and everyone. Thus, he is the most munificent. Is that how you pronounce that word?
So here it is explained. And I think your copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita is not an original book. If you look in the front. By personally tasting the mellows of love of God, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
This database is not the original.
It's okay.
Wait a minute, Prabhu. Just a
It's
second.
okay. It's okay.
Hold on, too much conversation.
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
By personally tasting the mellows of love of God, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught the process. How did he teach the process? Can you say in 3 words? Or in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words? Well, how did Lord Chaitanya teach love of Krishna?
By sharing with us his emotions, what he was
Yes.
experiencing.
Yes, this is subjective instruction. Now, from the purport, I'll read a little piece of the purport. His devotees who learned it from him, they picked up this instruction. His devotees who learned, they also had to distribute it munificently all over the world. That's Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada says, his confidential devotee is also trying, his confidential devotees, by this Krishna conscious movement, following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his confidential devotees, is also trying to distribute love of God all over the world through the chanting of the holy name. Have you ever seen Srila Prabhupada chanting Jai Radha Madhava in video? And you see this
Yes.
very, very intense look on his face. What is that intense look on his face? He's feeling love of Krishna in separation. He's longing for Krishna's. So we'll come back to this subject, but I want to, if we go to Madhya Lila in Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 13, verses 169 to 178. Just the verses.
13 what?
Madhya Lila, chapter 13, 169 to 178. I'll begin reading, okay?
Yeah.
Lord Jagannath was garlanded, dressed with nice garments, adorned with beautiful ornaments. His face was glittering from the rays of sunshine. The entire atmosphere was fragrant. An ocean of transcendental bliss expanded in the heart of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and symptoms of madness immediately intensified like a hurricane. The madness of transcendental bliss created waves of various emotion, and the emotions spread like opposing soldiers staging a fight. There was an increase in all the natural emotional symptoms, and thus there were awakening emotions, peacefulness, joined, mixed, transcendental, and prevalent emotions, and impetuses for emotion. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body appeared like a transcendental Himalayan mountain, bearing ecstatic, emotional flower trees, all of them blooming. And upon seeing all these symptoms, everyone's mind and consciousness were attracted. Indeed, the Lord sprinkled everyone's mind with the nectar of transcendental love of Godhead. He sprinkled the minds of the servants of the Lord Jagannath, the government officers, the pilgrim visitors, the general populace, and all the residents of Jagannath Puri. And after seeing the dancing and ecstatic love of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone became astonished. In their hearts, they became infatuated with love of Krishna. Everyone danced and chanted in an ecstatic love, and a great noise resounded, and everyone was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss just to see the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is subjective instruction. This is subjective instruction. Now, but there's two kinds of spiritual masters. And as we read in the previous purport, Lord Chaitanya's most intimate devotees, devotional associates, were also filled their hearts with this. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 5th chapter, 25th text, Srila Prabhupada explains, just like we have it's been explained to us here by Krishnadas Kaviraj, that Lord Chaitanya was engaged in subjective instruction. And this is why he's called Namo Mahabhadanaya Avatar, the most munificent. Because how is he, when Krishna was here, he said, you surrender to me, and I will free you from all sinful reaction. Sarva dharman parityagya. But he didn't give this love of Krishna to everyone. No. So he came back as Lord Chaitanya to distribute this love freely. How? By this subjective instruction. Srila Prabhupada writes, and he gave it to his confidential devotees, who also were distributing in that way. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, pure devotion is as much infectious, but in a good sense, that infection, as an infectious disease. Okay? This is subjective instruction, that the devotion of our spiritual master is infectious. We have to, if you go further down in the same purport, you'll see where Srila Prabhupada explains, what is that infection? How does it work? Srila Prabhupada writes, infection of the qualities of the pure devotee, infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste. Where is that? Further down. Infection of the qualities. Yes. I can't see because all of the words, but just above there. Can you move the text over a little bit? There's some video that I don't see the whole purport. Anyway, it says here that by the association of the pure devotee, all of these obstacles, the neophyte, we are neophyte, the neophyte devotee becomes enriched with the transcendental qualities of the pure devotee, which means he becomes attracted to the name, the form, the fame, the qualities, the pastimes. This is the infection. Infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of pure devotion in the association of the pure devotee. And this makes all material taste distasteful. So this is subjective instruction. This is exactly what Lord Chaitanya was engaged in and what our whole parampara is engaged in. We have to learn what is pure devotion from our bona fide spiritual master by having a heart-to-heart connection with him. When we have a heart-to-heart connection with anyone, we begin to understand their heart. And when we understand their heart, we understand their feeling, their devotional feeling. And this is, in other words, as we were saying in an earlier lecture, earlier talk, earlier discussion, Krishna consciousness is not a mechanical process. That if mechanical process, as Srila Prabhupada, checklist, if I have instruction to do this, chant 16 rounds, rise early, take bath, attend Mongol Artik, etc., 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 etc. We can do, it's not, or as Srila Prabhupada wrote in one purport that we read in the earlier discussion, it's not so many formalities that by, as Srila Prabhupada explains, that by mechanically doing all these things, devotional service or these activities in Krishna consciousness is so powerful that it gives us a sense of liberation. Our anxieties depart from our heart. But we will not develop ecstatic love of God. To develop love or feelings of love for Krishna, one has to have a heart-to-heart relationship with Krishna's pure devotee and imbibe the taste of devotion. We have to learn from him. Now, this is, in other words, we have to develop a very personal exchange of love with our spiritual master. We have to live in that mode. Then we can feel his feelings. This is the meaning of engaging in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a pure devotee. Engaging in Krishna consciousness in the association of a pure devotee. What is that guidance and what is that? It's so that we can receive this subjective instruction. So that we're not simply engaged in mechanical execution of these principles, of these practices. So that's very amazing. That we should consider to come to this platform. But before we can come to this platform, as Srila Prabhupada writes in chapter 12 of Nectar of Devotion, that association is just like our heart becomes like a mirror, that whatever we associate with, our heart reflects those same qualities. He says, association is like a crystal stone which reflects whatever is placed before it. Therefore, the disciple must be bona fide, Srila Prabhupada writes in end of chapter 12, Nectar of Devotion. And the spiritual master must be bona fide. Then there can be this bona fide means that the heart, that the mirror, for a mirror to reflect, the mirror has to be clean. For our hearts to be able to understand the feelings of Srila Prabhupada, our hearts have to be clean. That's the only association is like a crystal stone, which reflects whatever is placed before. The only qualification is that the mirror of our heart has to be clean. This means, again, coming back to what we were discussing, that to be on the Brahminical platform where our hearts are illuminated, joyful, free of material desire and free of material lamentation. We have to learn to live that. We have to set our cruise control, how we move through life. We have to cruise through on the Brahminical platform so that our hearts can reflect the qualities. And we have to move through life on the Brahminical platform, which enables us to understand the heart of our spiritual master, and that so that our hearts can reflect his qualities. And we can, as Srila Prabhupada writes, imbibe the taste of his devotion, which makes the taste of material things distasteful. Prema bhakti aha hoite. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. Avidya vinashayate. In this way, our ignorance is destroyed. Or as we've just read, it makes when we imbibe that taste, all other tastes become distasteful. This is the relationship, an intimate. This is why this is a bona fide relation. A bona fide disciple has this relationship with a bona fide spiritual master. This is amazing philosophy. It means we move from and as Srila Prabhupada wrote, this is the position of the neophyte. We're not talking about Krishna Prema. We're not talking about Bhava. We're talking about the position of the neophyte devotee. How we are in cruise control, living in the association of the pure devotee, living and practicing Krishna consciousness, cultivating under his guidance. Under his guidance. I would like you to take Krishna book and look up the gopis' feelings of separation. I think maybe chapter 31, I'm not sure. Krishna book. The gopis' feelings of the first page in that chapter. And we'll read it together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is that available to you? I can get my book if you like.
Ishan Prabhu. No, which chapter is that? The gopis' feeling of separation.
It may be 31 or 34.
I think this is
Yeah, 35. Got it.
35? Okay. Some of the books, they changed the editors changed the numbers. rascals. The
Can you
gopis,
see?
yeah, they're. I can't see the whole print because they're in the upper right hand corner. There's a video in which I can see you, and I
Okay.
can see myself. Can that be?
Where? Yeah. How about now? Did it change position?
No, it's still the same.
Okay, that's for you. That's on your screen. So if you take your mouse and
Yeah.
put it on top left corner, you'll get options where you can minimize that.
What is that?
Just
You
put your mouse over that picture where you see us, and
Yeah.
you'll get options on the top left corner.
top left corner.
Not for you.
I'll get
Yeah, so you
I'll get my book because I
can
don't.
minimize.
Oh, maybe I can do that. No, I don't want to lose you. But let me.
Okay, and I'll do something my side.
You read. You read it. Read it
What
nice.
about now? Can you see it now?
Not completely. You read, Prabhu.
Okay.
The gopis. Go ahead, please.
Okay, from the beginning, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. The gopis of Vrindavan were so attached to Krishna that they were not satisfied simply with the rasa dance at night. They wanted to associate with him and enjoy his company during the daytime also. When Krishna went to the forest with his cowherd boyfriends and cows, the gopis did not physically take part, but hearts went with him. And because their hearts went, they were able to enjoy his company through strong feelings of separation. To acquire this,
Jump in. I'll just jump in if I may. So
please,
separation in the material world makes people feel unhappy, but separation, longing to feel, to be with Krishna in the spiritual world, in the spiritual dimension, fills the heart of devotee with ecstatic feelings. These are the feelings of Lord Chaitanya. Now continue, Prabhu. Please continue with this reading.
Okay. Acquire this strong feeling of separation is the sin of Lord Chaitanya and its direct disciplic succession of Goswamis. When we are not with Krishna, we can associate with him like the gopis through feelings of separation. Krishna's transcendental form, qualities, pastimes, and entourage are all identical with him. There are 9 different kinds of devotional service. Devotional service to Krishna in feelings of separation elevates the devotee to the highest perfectional level, to the level of the gopis.
Okay, can you read that sentence? To acquire, going back 2-3 sentences? Can you read that sentence again?
Yeah, sure. To
To
acquire, 1 minute. To acquire this strong feeling of separation is the teaching of Lord Chaitanya and his direct disciplic succession of Goswami.
Okay, this Srila Prabhupada is informing us what we're supposed to be learning. Don't take away the book yet. There's
Okay.
more. He
We will
says,
see.
this is the teaching, to acquire this, to acquire these feelings of separation. Then Srila Prabhupada is going to explain how we acquire these feelings of separation. Please continue. It is
Yes. When we are not in physical contact with Krishna, we can associate with him like the gopis through feelings of separation.
Now, it is stated in Srinivas Acharya's prayer, and I'm going to need your help because I can't see everything, that the 6 Goswamis, they left the material opulence of government service and the princely status and that part. And they lived in Vrindavan where they lived like ordinary mendicants, begging from door to door. But they were so much enriched with the gopis' feelings of separation that they enjoyed transcendental pleasure at every moment. Similarly, when Lord Chaitanya was at Jagannath Puri, he was in the role of Radharani, feeling this separation of Krishna. Now Srila Prabhupada talks. For us, those who are in the disciplic succession of the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, that's us, should also feel the separation of Krishna. Worship his transcendental form, discuss his transcendental teachings, his pastimes, his qualities, his entourage, his associations. Now, next sentence. You read this next sentence loud and clear and slow, okay, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. The spiritual masters should enrich the devotees to the higher perfection. Feeling constant separation while engaged in the service of the Lord is the perfection of Krishna consciousness.
Okay. So what does this mean? That he enriches us to these feelings of love of Krishna. The spiritual masters enrich the devotees. Then we go back to 1.5.25 in Bhagavatam. Devotional service is as much infectious in the good sense as an infectious disease. To become infected with the qualities of devotion means to imbibe the taste of devotion in the association of a pure devotee. So, and Srila Prabhupada says, the neophyte devotee, that's you and me, imbibes the taste of of devotional service, which makes all other tastes distasteful. And if you go to the further on in the same purport, he says, then one becomes steady. I'm just speaking in my own words because I don't have the book. Then one will actually have transcendental emotion. Then one will come to the stage of love of God. And the last sentence in that purport, 1.5.25, and all of these stages develop in the association of the pure devotee. Therefore, we have to learn how to cultivate a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada. In order for this transaction, in order for this infection to take place. And this is not advanced Krishna consciousness, as Srila Prabhupada explains in 1.5.25, the neophyte. Just like we read how Lord Chaitanya infected the general populace. All the common people, when they experienced Lord Chaitanya's ecstatic symptoms by association, they became also feeling in that way. And this is how love, therefore, Namo Mahabhadanaya. That's what No avatar has ever distributed feelings of devotion. They've given instruction how to do yoga, like Patanjali, or they've given instruction how to be very dutiful to according to Varna and Ashram, like Lord Ramchandra. How to be a good person, how to be a responsible person, how to do yoga, how to meditate, how to do Sankhya yoga, so many kinds of it. But what no incarnation is, just sharing feelings of love for Krishna. But that is why he is called Namo Mahabodhanaya Avatar. That he's freely distributing. And this is coming down through the disciplic succession. And as we just read in Krishna book, the spiritual master will enrich us. He will. What does it mean to enrich? Just like you have some whole wheat flour for making chapatis, and the whoever is providing from the factory this whole wheat flour, they're adding some wonderful nutritious ingredients, supposedly. It's called enriched. It has the essential quality in it. There are things we really need to become strong and healthy. To become strong and healthy in our Krishna consciousness, the spiritual master will enrich us with these devotional feelings. How does he enrich us? If we have a heart-to-heart connection, then we can become enriched. And Srila Prabhupada says, this is the real meaning of initiation. This is the beginning. Are we initiated in these feelings? Srila Prabhupada explains how he met his spiritual master. In 1922, he said that he had never met anyone like that before. He said that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta looked at him with so much love. He said, that is how I learned what it means to love. That is how I learned to love, in the association of my spiritual master. That is how I learned to love. So all of these things are there. We're not concocting our own philosophy. We're trying to talk about this process of Krishna consciousness that is not on the mechanical platform of completing a checklist of things to do and things not to do, but to imbibe the taste of pure devotion in the association and then practice our Krishna consciousness in the association of the pure devotee, feeling his presence, feeling his heart, and acting, engaging in Krishna consciousness in that sense under his guidance. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is not a user's manual approach. Krishna consciousness is an apprenticeship program. Anyone can follow a user's manual while having no direct subjective instruction with the man who wrote the manual. But we're encouraged to engage in subjective instruction and thereby engage in Krishna consciousness in the association of the pure devotee, under the guidance of the pure devotee. This is amazing to hear these things, to consider these things.
Ishan Prabhu, can we ask a question while you're talking?
Yes.
We just read that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I can't remember the exact word, he used a very specific word, but it meant those who were qualified or not qualified, he gave, he distributed it. And I'm guessing, correct my speculation, that because he was in such a crazy state of emotional upheaval, that he couldn't discriminate. You can't discriminate on that platform. So I mean, again, I'm a lazy guy, so I'm looking for shortcuts. So if we find somebody who's manifesting that kind of craziness, will they be able to distribute it to those who are qualified and unqualified?
Qualified and unqualified, you're talking about us. You and
Exactly.
me.
Yeah.
Are we qualified?
No way.
We're mlechas, chandalas. We're the
Yeah.
lowest of the low. We're below Jagai and Madhai. But Srila Prabhupada is accepting us as his disciples.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, qualified. And he's willing to share his heart with us.
Yeah.
And we have to learn how to cultivate the ability to open our heart to our spiritual master, so that we can imbibe the taste, so that just like COVID, you catch COVID by being in the association of someone who has COVID. You catch this devotional feeling by being in the association of someone who has this devotional feeling. And as it says, as you just pointed out, that one doesn't need any great qualification. In Vedic society, a real student, a real brahmachari, a real Brahmin has beautiful qualifications. And we're so crude and so rough. And so, but Srila Prabhupada is not overlooking our disqualification. We're considered like we would be untouchables.
Yeah.
That's our qualification. We're untouchable to be in touch with spiritual, but Srila Prabhupada's accepting us and inviting us to giving us diksha, which Srila Prabhupada explains that means he's inviting us to have a heart-to-heart relationship with him.
Jai.
Inviting us to have inviting untouchables, Jagai and Madhais, to have a heart-to-heart, subjective, personal relationship with him, to imbibe this taste of Krishna consciousness. So,
I have Ishan Prabhu.
yeah.
We have two more questions from devotees here.
Yeah.
And just to let you know, we've cut the video so you can't see us to have because we're struggling with the internet connection on our side and sometimes your side. So that's why you can't see us, okay?
If I can't see you, how will I receive subjective instruction from you?
Yeah, see, this is a problem.
Go ahead, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can give some knowledge about, let's say, in my experience, there are, let's say, there are many other different devotees, but let's say now I do speak of two categories of devotees. Some devotees, neophytes, or they start so to read Prabhupada's books and becomes immediately ecstatic and then follow every rule and regulation automatically as side effect very easily. But then there are some other devotees, they read and they sleep only, and they can even at 20 years not find some taste, and they have such a fight with the rules, even with the basic rules and regulations. So what can be said? Because mostly these devotees, they give sometimes up and they say, I can never follow these rules and regulations. And then they are looking for some crazy men who have this bhakti. And like Jagamada, they think they should not follow so strictly. Maybe they get some love automatically, even if they don't follow all the rules, because someone have it. But Prabhupada actually have it, but Prabhupada say, follow, you must follow. So we have two sides. We can follow immediately, like Prabhupada say, if you want to be my disciple, 4 rules and regulations. But others cannot follow it, actually. And so what they can do if they struggle, but actually the treasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they can also not taste. And we read this and we cannot get it, but others maybe get it.
I understand your question. And I have a quote from Srila Prabhupada lecture, and I'm going to get it and come right back. It'll take me 1 second.
Roshi, can we bring that chair here? Bring it in. Don't mind. Huh? For the video? Yeah. Bring it as close as you can, really. Yeah, that's it. I think this is important.
Here it is, okay?
Yeah.
This is a lecture given in Bombay in 1976 by Srila Prabhupada. He was giving a class on Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th chapter, 12th verse. No, 7th canto, 12th chapter, 1st verse. 7th canto, 12th chapter, 1st verse. I can read it to you. April 12, 1976. Okay, listen to this. Srila Vira, and you're asking why do you have 2 kinds of devotees? Those who can follow very nicely, very easily, and feel satisfied and feel and enjoy this process of Krishna consciousness. And there are those who they find it so difficult. What is that? What's going on? Srila Vira Raghava Acharya, he has I should stop?
Just 1 second.
Yeah.
Because we have an internet weakness.
No, again.
Yeah, Prabhu, just 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Srila Vira Raghava Acharya, he has described in his comment, there are 2 kinds of brahmachari. One brahmachari is Naistika brahmachari. He doesn't marry. Another brahmachari is, although he marries, he's fully under the control of the spiritual master, even for sex. Although he's brahmachari. Therefore, brahmachari means living under the direction of Guru Hitam. And this Guru Hitam, simply thinking of satisfying of the spiritual master, unless that position comes, nobody can serve the Guru. Srila Prabhupada says, unless one coming to this position where in his heart he's thinking, all he can think about is how to please my spiritual master. He can't follow. He said, that's our Srila Prabhupada, the next sentence. Unless that position comes, nobody can serve Guru. It's not an artificial thing. The brahmachari, the disciple, must have genuine love for Guru. Then he can be under his control. then Srila Prabhupada repeats, then he can be under his control. This can be possible when one is very thickly, Srila Prabhupada says, very thickly related with the Guru. Or otherwise, ordinary relationship will not do. Okay? So he says, how has he come under the control? He's being controlled. You're saying one disciple is so controlled, another disciple is not controlled. Srila Prabhupada says, what's missing? Unless this position, the disciple must have genuine love for the Guru. Then he can be under his control. So this is the answer. When we have a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada, a very thick, emotional, heartfelt relationship with Srila Prabhupada, he gives us the power.
Yes.
Nobody can follow. What does Srila Prabhupada say in that purport that we just read? Ordinary relationship will not do. Ordinary, he's not giving us a user's manual to follow, do this, follow this instruction, follow. It's not like a user's manual. It's an apprenticeship. We're working under in his association, heartfelt, and we're under his guidance. Our hearts are under his guidance. The brahmachari, the disciple, must have genuine love for the Guru. Then he can be under his control. So the difference between those two kinds of devotees that you're describing is some of them are opening their hearts to Srila Prabhupada. And to that proportion, they're being blessed with the power, with the ability to effortlessly be under his control. And so this is how it is. This is more of the same explanation that we need to have. You see people say like this, they quote Srila Prabhupada, but all I have to do is follow instruction. Here, what is Srila Prabhupada? He lives forever by his divine instruction, and the follower lives with him. Okay, I'm following the instruction like it's a user's manual. I'm with my spiritual master. I'm following the whole checklist. I'm doing the do's and I'm doing the don'ts. But Srila Prabhupada says it's not an artificial thing unless this position comes. The disciple must have genuine love for spiritual master. Then he will be under his control. So we need to have a personal relationship. We need to cultivate the ability. Look, we were reading the other day, when we're chanting Hare Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. He says, when we're chanting, we should be chanting with feelings of love. This is true. So the idea is he lives forever by his divine instruction, but the things that we're talking about today, these are part of those instructions. Everything we're reading today says we must have a personal relationship with our spiritual master, with Srila Prabhupada. These are his instructions. Yes, he lives by forever by his instruction, and the followers with him. But what are his instructions? It's not just following a checklist. The brahmachari, the disciple, must have genuine love for Guru. Then he can. But so these are the instructions. that we must follow. And if we don't follow in that way, we won't have the power to maintain.
Okay, then, okay, now, okay, now I'm honest, I explain you my case also, therefore, now, directly. Because what we have now spoken, I cannot analyze my own case, actually. So from beginning, I was a full criminal, full of drugs, everyday sex, and you don't want to know what I have all done to this time. And then I get the Bhagavad Gita. There was no connection with Prabhupada. I even not believed in God, actually. Only if I have taken some overdose, too much cocaine or something, then I was crying because I was thinking my heart goes dead. And then sometimes I say, please God, don't kill me now. But then if it was okay, nothing. And then I read Bhagavad Gita, there was nothing. I was completely polluted, no believing in God, no believing in Guru. And then I read Bhagavad Gita, and in 1 second, I read the mantra. So tears was coming out. Immediately, from this, I believe in God. And I stay now 20 years brahmachari, even no masturbation, nothing actually, let's say, and only follow Prabhupada and have, how this is, and then I was thinking, I give everyone a book. I was thinking, okay, everyone get the book, and then I have some partner. I'm not alone, because now they were thinking I get crazy or something. And I give it the books to others. So same like me, same of drugs, so my old friends, but it's not working. So why it's not for, and this I can understand even not today. So how it is possible that I stay now brahmachari? I was every day using sex. So I have this absolute, I was most fallen, like same like list of Jagai Madai. I have done everything what they have do, maybe only not murder case. That's the only one thing, but every other thing I have done. So how this can be possible? It is not, I can not understand sometimes myself. I find not the explanation.
You want to explain exactly how that happened? Is that what
Ishan Prabhu, he's asking, how come with him, he was the lowest low, when he got Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti awoken, but when he gives his books to other friends, many other friends that are not as bad as him, or others much better than him, nothing happened.
Well, there are different ways to look at it. What is this gentleman's initiated name?
Mathurapati, he's the temple the temple president here, he's the host.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna. One understanding is that, see, now immediately he comes to the highest position. He's the leader of others. So many of us, some places Srila Prabhupada writes that not everybody becomes, millions of people saw Srila Prabhupada, but not everyone becomes initiated. That meant those who have, sometimes Srila Prabhupada says things like, my spiritual master has sent some of his associates to be my disciples. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada says these things. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada says that those who are taking up this devotional path is because they've been engaged in spiritual life. They've been devotees for many generations. Srila Prabhupada says like this. We may be born into such a fallen culture for some reason or other, who knows? But those of us who are feeling that this is what I am, I'm the servant of Srila Prabhupada. This is my identity. I don't have any other identity. Nothing else makes sense. Nothing else is meaningful. I won't tell you about my crazy life before Well,
Same.
I'll tell you, my,
Yes, tell it,
my,
tell it.
my wife was I was married before, and I was living 2 blocks from Montreal Temple, 1967, 68. I saw the devotees on the street. I think, who are these crazy people walking up and down the street in sheets?
And now you become this crazy.
And then, and so my wife says, she's interested in spiritual life. I had no interest in God. I was raised in the home of people who hated religion. Can you understand that such a thing? Only I heard from childhood that it's all nonsense. So, and I went to a university, and they said that this religion stuff, I was in science. This religion is for primitive people, and I believed them. So anyway, so my wife said, I want to go to that temple. She was doing newspaper articles. She was a writer. And she wanted to speak to the devotees because she wanted to understand what is this, what we're doing. But she didn't want to go saying, I'm really interested. She wanted to have her clipboard between her and the devotees, being very protected by this objective approach. Take me to the temple. I said, take you to the temple? I said, there's no way I'm going to go to that place. These people are completely crazy. So then what was I doing? I left school. I left the university because I was taking LSD. I was taking LSD, and I go to the, I was a scientist. I did biology, botany, zoology, comparative anatomy, organic chemistry, biochemistry, physics, biophysics. I was taking courses that even doctors are not taking. Psychology, physiological psychology, social psychology, so everything.
This guy, Timothy Leary, was the guru of all the LSD freaks. Timothy Leary.
Yeah, so I take LSD and I go to the office of my professor. And my professor, I ask him questions about what is going on, because why I was taking all these subjects, because I was so crazy and so emotionally unhappy, so full of anxiety and disturbance. I thought, this body is a machine. This mind, if I can learn what are the variables, how it all works by studying all these sciences, then I can adjust the machine and I'll be a happy person. Yeah. So I go to my professor's office and I begin to ask him questions. And what he says to me, he said, confidentially, he said, actually, he said, we don't know anything. We make all this up. That's why every year you don't read last year's textbook in the class, because they have they have a new theory every year. So
that's honest. That's as honest.
no, yeah, one professor is honest. So then I left the school. These people can't help me. So I became looking for I have to eat, a place to sleep. So there's a mansion, a big, beautiful building near the university, and for some fraternity, and they want to sell the building. So but they need some income, so they want to rent out the rooms in that building. They leave the building and they rent their rooms. So they want someone to manage the building. So I took the job. I'm the manager now of a rooming house, a mansion. And students are coming and different people. We're giving them rooms. And I'm 2-3 blocks away from Montreal Temple, from those crazy people who dress in sheets. So one day I'm away from the building, and when I come home, my wife says, we have some new people living in the building. I said, what do you mean we have some new people living in the building? You see, at that time,
It's crazy ones.
I was so crazy. I couldn't live with my wife in the same room. She had her room and I had my room. It was terrible. So I said, we have no rooms. How you can have new people? She said, well, I said, who's these people? She said, those people from that temple. I said, what? You let those crazy people into the building, but we have no rooms. She said, well, I gave them my room, she said. I said, what? You gave them your room? Where are you going to live? She said, I'll live with you in your room. I said, no, impossible.
Oh my God. This
And I
is too
said,
much.
how much are you charging? How much are you charging these crazy people for living in your room? She said, well, very quietly, they didn't have any money. I give them for nothing. They can live for free. I said, what? How you can do that? So then who was that person? Can you guess? Who came to live there?
The Prabhupada.
That person was Hansadutta.
Answer to the Prabhu ki. Hey, Haribo from Germany.
Anyway, he was very intelligent because Hansadutta was a little bit crazy. And he could understand a person like me. He was giving me sweet balls, ladu. And he said, I did like you did, Prabhu. I was doing hatha yoga. He would give me Srila Prabhupada first volume 1 from that Srimad Bhagavatam in the form that Srila Prabhupada brought from India, not edited or anything, and those brown covers. I would do my yoga and I would read the book. And the book says, one should read this very nicely, not jumping haphazardly. I'm sitting in lotus posture, and after my exercises and breathing, and trying to get some kind of balance in my crazy brain. And one should read step by step, not jumping, and one should hear. So I'm reading out loud Srila Prabhupada's book, sitting in my room alone. And Prabhu, in my heart, I was feeling very subtle, like an orgasm. My heart. I said, who is the person who wrote this book? I have to meet this person. I have to meet this person. So where is he? I'm in Montreal. Srila Prabhupada's in New York. So I go to New York. He's in this place called Matchless Gifts, storefront. And behind the Matchless Gifts, a little apartment. I go into the room. It's Srila Prabhupada. It's a white room. There's no furniture, wooden floor, no rug, nothing. A white room. And Srila Prabhupada sitting behind a little trunk on the floor. And I said, wow, the energy around him, it looks like it's like being on acid. It's like it is luminous. He's illuminating the room with his energy. And somebody puts in my hand a slice of banana, Mahaprasadam, and but I'm so transfixed. I'm so amazed at Srila Prabhupada's appearance. I'm just holding the banana in my hand. We're not thinking about it. And I asked Srila Prabhupada some question. I asked him a silly question. And Srila Prabhupada takes his Bhagavad Gita and he reads to me for 10, 15 minutes. And he says, does that answer your question? And I said, oh, everything's really clear. When I got on the street, I didn't understand anything. But while Srila Prabhupada's talking, all problems are gone. I get out on the street 15, 20 minutes later, and I open my hand, and there's a piece of squashed banana. I was so taken by Srila Prabhupada's presence. So then I say to my wife, I'm going to take initiation. This man is going to be my teacher. And she says, what does she say? She says, he says that God is blue. I said, no, it's true. It's true. So I said, I don't care if he says that God is made of green cheese. This person has some kind of knowledge, some kind of wisdom. I want this from him. But there was no thought of God. There was no thought of wanting to be a devotee. I was desperately wanting something. So how can I become peaceful within myself? So then but Srila Prabhupada explains, who can appreciate Srila Prabhupada and know that he's my teacher, and who cannot? He says, we're here in this material world, right? Why are we here? Because we're envious of Krishna, and we want to be Krishna, we want to be number one. And so, but we're in therapy. Actually, Krishna, he created us. He creates us. We want to rebel. He can destroy us, but he doesn't. He makes a special building for us, a place like an insane asylum, for just like we have in our insane asylums today. In the material world, somebody thinks he's Napoleon, right? And somebody thinks I'm Alexander the Great, and like that. So we're thinking, well, I'm a great person. Yeah, we're all crazy, and we're all trying to be something special. So Krishna has a place for people like us. And no, really. No, have you ever heard of this word, hypnotherapy? No, let me ask you, have you heard this word, hypnotherapy?
Yes.
That the person is crazy, so you hypnotize him and you say, now you're going here, now you're doing this, now you're doing that. But the person is really lying on the bed, not doing anything, but he's experiencing. So in the same way, Krishna gives us a body, a material body. And actually, our Bhagavad Gita explains that Krishna is moving the body. He's the doer. And we're not doing anything, but we're thinking and we're doing so many things. So our philosophy of Krishna consciousness, that we're asleep inside this body and Krishna is moving the body and we're thinking we're doing so many things. It's like we're hypnotized. We're in and we're having this dream. It's a very bad dream. At night we go to bed and we have dream, but the body is just lying there. We're doing nothing, but we're living in the daytime. We're having a gross dream. The dream is made of, instead of subtle material energy dream, we're having a gross material energy dream. We're dreaming, I'm this, I'm that, I'm doing, I'm that, I'm having success. So we're in hypnotherapy. And what is that therapy that we're trying to enjoy apart from Krishna? And there's so many problems, so many difficulties, one after another, so much heartache, so much heartbreak. I was thinking at that time, before I joined, you won't believe what I was thinking. I was thinking to put myself in an insane asylum. But I was already that crazy. But I didn't do it because of, why did I think like that? I thought, maybe if I go in and I want to go out, they won't let me out. So I won't go. That's how crazy I was. So in this bad dream that Krishna is giving us is to make to slowly, through 8,400,000 different births, eating other animals, being eaten by other animals, being in Napoleon's army. And Napoleon, he had them marching. Can you imagine, on foot from France to Moscow? And anybody who said they couldn't walk, shoot him. So we went through so many things, life after life. So then is to wear down our spirit of independence. So Srila Prabhupada explains, those who are responding to the therapy and slowly giving up their rebellious spirit, Krishna knows. He gives them the ability to recognize a real spiritual master. He gives us this ability to recognize him. Krishna. So when one has a real spiritual master, it's a personal thing that Krishna has said, okay, you can't relate to me personally immediately. You're too crazy for that. But I'm going to put you in touch with my pure devotee, and in his association, gradually you can become a devotee. Krishna gives us the ability, Srila Prabhupada writes that, he gives us the ability to recognize his pure devotee. And that's why, some will recognize, and others they can't recognize. They're a little bit attracted, but they can't understand like that because they're not ready yet. They need more therapy. They need some more lifetimes, car accidents, COVID, cancer, broken leg, broken head, broken sex life, broken marriage, broken children, broken business, broken. They need more of that. So they get more of that. But those who are responding to the therapy of living in the insane asylum that we call the material world in hypnotherapy, Krishna knows because he's in our heart. And then he puts us in touch with a real pure devotee so that we can learn how to become devotees again. So that's because you were raising the question, what's the difference between some devotees can take, some devotees cannot take, some devotees can be followed, some devotees can't, some people are attracted, some people are not attracted, some people hate us. So they're so rebellious against Krishna that when they see a devotee, they become angry. Demon. So like me. So anyway, so this is so we're here. So now amazing. What an idea. What an idea to understand. To have this understanding that, you know, life is so crazy, but what is it all about? And then to get this information, we really came from the spiritual world. We were placed here because I resented the fact that Krishna should receive everybody's love. Why not me? Why shouldn't I be the center of this world? That I'm one of these crazy spirit souls. Amazing. So to have that understanding, go ahead, Prabhu. You were going to say.
Yeah, just there's two more people in line waiting to ask you questions. Sumagiri Prabhu has come all the way from Hungary, actually. So we're very fortunate to have him here.
Hare Krishna. My question is that it was in that topic. The real Diksha is heart to heart process. And what about
better that he sees him.
What about the fire sacrifice and the
Start your question again.
Okay. So it was in the topic. The real Diksha is the heart to heart process. As you remember, you mentioned this. This is in the Bhagavatam. And what about the fire sacrifice and giving names or taking names and all this formality?
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada explains like that. In one thing we read, Srila Prabhupada says, not so many formalities. The real thing is the heart. Now, Srila Prabhupada explains, okay, your question about Diksha. He said, I met my spiritual master in 1922, always thinking of him. Srila Prabhupada left Calcutta, I believe, and he went to Allahabad and opened a business. He's away from it. But then, so all these years, from 1922, he didn't get initiated, no formal, but he's always thinking of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then in 1933, the devotees of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta came to Allahabad, where Srila Prabhupada had pharmacy. He said, in 1933, I received formal initiation. Like you were saying, ceremony. He said, but actually my initiation was in 1922. There was no ceremony. But he had opened his heart to his spiritual master, and he felt Srila Prabhupada, I don't have it in front of me, but Srila Prabhupada said, he looked at me, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, he looked at me with so much love. And I learned at that moment what love is. He learned from he had a heart-to-heart connection with his spiritual master and no ceremony. But he said, that was my real initiation. It doesn't mean we shouldn't have the initiation. It's just like if you get married. It's like making a statement to the whole world. It's like making a statement to your husband or wife. It's like making a statement to the society. It's like saying, now I'm giving myself to this relationship. And it makes us feel more committed. It gives us strength. It's useful. But one can live with a woman. That's just a government piece of paper, marriage certificate. But the real connection is in the heart. So both are good, but the most important thing is the heart connection. And that's the real initiation. That's what Srila Prabhupada writes. So, but at the same time, he knows how foolish we are, how rascal we are, that we have to, it's good for us to go through this ceremony, to take vows, to make promises, to understand. Srila Prabhupada would say, when giving initiation, what are the 4 regular principles? And the person would recite, you may have seen some video, no illicit sex, no intoxication. Can you follow? Yes, like that. So it's good for us, this formality, and because we need it. We need to have this marriage between ourselves and our master. We need this. It gives us a sense, it gives us a feeling of commitment. It means it, and it has other functions too. It shows in the society of devotees that one has made this commitment. So it shows, but real surrender, what is that surrender? The real surrender is, well, Srila Prabhupada talks about real surrender. Tadbidi pranipatena paraprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshanaha. What is a tattva darshi? Tattva is the absolute truth. What is darshi? It means that he has darshan. He has an association. You have to find a spiritual master who has the darshan of Krishna 100%, 24 hours. Find the tattva. A real spiritual master is someone who has Krishna in his heart 24 hours. So you find such a person, and you inquire from him submissively, and you render service to him, and such as this Tattvadarshi, he can impart knowledge to you because he has seen the truth. He's seeing the truth every moment. He can share that with you in your heart. So if we look in the purport, he's talking about inquiry, submission, and service. Inquiry, submission, and service is the formula. So what's the inquiry? Srila Prabhupada says, foolish questions, don't ask foolish questions. He says, but he says, the relationship, blind following is not encouraged. Blind following is useless. Somebody comes and he has blind following for a week, 2 weeks, a month. He's just doing everything mechanically, blindly following. He said, no, not blind following. What's the opposite of blind following? The opposite of blind following, and not absurd questions. He uses that word in the purport. So what's the real question? How do I develop this love of Krishna? That's the real question. So how do we understand what is love of Krishna in his association? He says, submission. What is submission? Is placing ourselves, I'm so small and you're so great. And I please let me understand what is love of Krishna. That's submission, to open the heart with love. He says when in the purport, he said the last sentence in that purport is when the disciple is always submissive and ready to render service, then the reciprocation of inquiry and receiving the knowledge, the blessing. He says the spiritual master, I'm remembering now, is very kind. Srila Prabhupada writes in 434 of Bhagavad Gita. And when the disciple, is very submissive and ready to render service, he blesses the devotee with knowledge from within the heart. So what is that? Submissive and ready to render service. It means his heart is open enough that he can become pure. Devotion is as much infectious in the good sense, like an infectious disease. Infection means to imbibe the taste of devotion in the association of a real devotee. So he says that's submission, that's submissiveness. Not to put our ego aside and be open to him and his presence and his feeling. That's submissive. So then he says, if the disciple who is asking how I can develop love of God is submissive, he can receive this kind of subjective instruction, real instruction, heart instruction, the feeling of devotion. He says, Srila Prabhupada writes, I had a thought, but it'll come back. He said, oh yes, and then rendering service. Well, in other words, the service we render is based on how submissive we are. In other words, when we're in his presence, in his association, we can feel his devotion, his enthusiasm, his joyful Krishna consciousness. We can sense it. And that infects us with a sense of joyful enthusiasm. And that's the basis of the service we're performing. That means we're engaging in devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. He says, if you're doing this formula of inquiry, submission, and service, then the spiritual master blesses us with more understanding. We get more revelation and become more attracted, and that makes us want more. So this is inquiry, submission, and service. So anyway, it's a beautiful understanding. It's the process, and it's all about a personal relationship with our spiritual master. This is how we get out of the insane asylum of the material world.
Oh,
Yeah. All right, so the real, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I I go off on my tangent. This is the real initiation. That when we are submissive and receive the heart-to-heart connection, which is the meaning of Diksha. And So does this make sense? It doesn't mean that, yes, but a person can have this ceremony and be gone next week. But if the heart-to-heart connection is there, you can't escape. There's no, you're already, you're captured. You're captured. We're captured. And we're so happy, we're so grateful that we're captured. Does it make sense, Prabhu? A little bit. Hare Krishna. So that's why, so when we become captured, so you're my God brother, because we have the same father.
Yeah. I already took, just I was, I mean, somebody say this is not so important, somebody say this is important. And I knew this heart-to-heart connection is the most important part, but the ceremony is also question.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's like telling the world, yes, I belong to my spiritual master. It's making a statement, you know.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you. Any question?
Govindaji? He's gone, unfortunately. Yeah, he left. He's busy, he had things to do. Mataji, any question? No? Motorapati, bro?
Prabhuji, any question about spiritual life?
Oh, question. Ishan Prabhu. That means you know everything. There was another person, but he had to go, so he left.
Can I tell you something?
Please do. Of course.
You know, what, 1968 to 2023, right? How many years is that? 68 to 2023. It's more than 50 years, right? So
55, I think so.
I'm telling you that for the most part, for most of these years, I'm mechanically doing all these practices and not understanding this submissive. But I want to make more. So I would chant japa. I'm the most crazy person, okay? I would chant japa so loud. We would chant in the temple room, japa period, that the devotees would ask me to leave the temple and chant. No, this happened in more than one temple. I would chant so loud, I was so desperate, and it would work. But when I would feel relief of my craziness, okay, my mind. So anxiety, whatever. So, but as soon as but when I would stop, the whole thing would come back like a tidal wave. So I wanted, how can I remain, on a nice platform of consciousness? I was praying to Srila Prabhupada for understanding. And in my heart, I was trying to understand. So it was somehow or other, Krishna enabled me to understand that I need to have a personal relationship with my spiritual master. I need to cultivate a living relationship with my savior, my savior. They say like that, Christians, my savior. So saving me. Somehow or other, I begin to understand. You know what I would do? I have a beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada. And he's smiling, it's so nice. Here. Okay, right? Hare Krishna. He's sitting on my altar, which I need to clean now, I see. And I'm chanting Hare Krishna, japa. But you know how the devotees even the picture or the murti of Srila Prabhupada, he's on the Vyasa, and the devotees, they make a flower garland, and they put the garland around Srila Prabhupada on his shoulders. So what I was doing, I would make a different kind of garland for Srila Prabhupada. You won't believe. I was garlanding Srila Prabhupada with the sound vibration of the holy name. And this way I'm chanting my japa.
Vivo.
No, this is true. And as I was trying to be sincere. I was garlanding Sri. I'm chanting for his pleasure. I'm chanting to show my affection, my love, and giving him a present, something he likes to hear, the holy name. And what would happen? I begin to feel Srila Prabhupada's alive in that picture. I begin to feel his presence, that he's smiling at me. He likes it. I thought, oh, this is very nice. And then I would go away and do my daily, but I would lose that feeling, okay? So then I go back the next day, japa period, and I say, can I find that sense of connection again? Can I find that? And I was amazed. Yes, Srila Prabhupada is responding to me. I'm offering him, I'm chanting for him the holy name. I'm garlanding him with the sound vibration of the holy name. So gradually, I would learn, practice to do this every day. And little by little, I can feel his connection when that's an inquiry, submission, and service. I'm feeling his presence and I'm serving him and I begin to feel something new. I begin to feel his devotional enthusiasm, his joy in Krishna consciousness. And I'm beginning to chant with that feeling. Isn't that nice? Isn't that? No, really, I'm telling you what. But this is the process. This is what the books are describing. This is receiving subjective instruction, approaching him in a submissive, approaching Srila Prabhupada in a very submissive mood, wishing to understand and trying, and praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath, always desiring his mercy, always desiring their mercy. I write this Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. It's the same idea. Krishna Das Kaviraj said, praying at the lotus feet of his spiritual masters, always desiring their mercy. He is engaging in his sadhana, following in their footsteps. Anuga means feeling what he's learning from them, and that is the basis of his sadhana. So this is the process of subjective instruction. So I'm practicing like this, and I'm feeling Srila Prabhupada's love, and I'm feeling Srila Prabhupada's enthusiasm, and it's lifting away all the clouds of my confused heart, my bewildered heart. I become... No, infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of devotion, to drink in the taste of devotion to Krishna by association. So I'm feeling this in his presence, and as I'm feeling this, I'm beginning to chant with that kind of enthusiasm that's emanating from him. Prema Bhakti from him, this Krishna consciousness emanates. In this way, our ignorance is destroyed. Prema bhakti yaha hoite avidya, ignorance, vinashayate. So I'm chanting like this in his presence. And then what happened? Now I'm living in the forest, I'm living on the land. I go out to do my daily duties, whatever it is, work in the garden, dig a ditch, cut some firewood, whatever. I'm learning I want to keep this feeling of connection with my spiritual master. I want to keep it alive in my heart. It's not perfect because I'm becoming distracted. I'm becoming fruitive. I'm trying to repair the water pump. Will it work? Will it not work? This, that, success and failure, victory and defeat. I have a to-do list. I'm thinking my mind's off somewhere in the future. I'm not in the present with Srila Prabhupada. But I'm learning. As the desire is growing, I want to feel his presence. 24 hours.
Rivo.
No, so from beginning, from the very beginning, just now. So now, and I chant. So how do I keep his sense of association? How do I keep it? He likes to hear the holy name. I give him the holy name. As soon as I'm out on the land, as soon as I say Hare Krishna, I can feel Srila Prabhupada's presence. It's not me. I don't have ecstasy for the holy name. He has ecstasy for the holy name. All I want is his association in order by him. You call it's subject. When we were foolish rascals, I'm still a foolish rascal, but before becoming, joining, we would smoke marijuana with other people. That was our association, right? So it was but one person is smoking marijuana and the other person is not. But the person who's not smoking, he's developing the same mentality as the person who is smoking. In that association, they would have an expression. He's getting high, but not by smoking, but by contact. They say a contact high. We are in association with Srila Prabhupada. We get a contact high. We must have this. This is our Krishna consciousness. In his association, his presence is so powerful. His devotion, and he's Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite. Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite. Vidya Vinasya Bhakti Yaha Hoite. From him, this Krishna Prema emanates. And if I can catch it, in this way, my ignorance is destroyed. See, this is our philosophy. This is how we become Krishna conscious. Contact high. No, it's true. So we have to think, not that I'm following a checklist. I did this, I did this, I did this. Yeah, one day the bolt of lightning will come from Krishna Loka and I'll have love of Krishna. It doesn't work that way. I have to make that connection and then submission, inquiry, submission. Please help me to be Krishna conscious, inquiry. Feeling his divine presence, submission. Service, engaging in Krishna consciousness with the feeling that I'm imbibing, becoming infected with his devotion is so strong that even a heart like mine is becoming cleansed in his. So this is the process. This is a very, very beautiful philosophy, a very beautiful understanding that we can all have a personal relationship. Narada Muni comes before Srila Vyasadeva in the first canto. And Srila Vyasadeva said, I'm not satisfied. I wrote so many Vedic literatures. What's missing? And he says, he prays to Narada Muni. Of course, he's perfect, but for just like Arjuna, Krishna puts him in that position so Bhagavad Gita can be spoken. Arjuna is a pure devotee. But so where was I going? I go off
You're
on
saying that Vyasadeva was not happy.
Narada Muni. So Srila Vyasadeva prays to Narada Muni. He says, it's in the first canto, I think in the 4th chapter. He says, your goodness, he says, your goodness is just, I don't know the exact words, almost like, he says, your goodness is like the all-pervasive super soul. You're like the Lord in the heart. You can enter into the heart of all living entities. Please find out the deficiency in me so I can, become satisfied. So Srila Prabhupada is our philosophy. He's the external manifestation of the Lord in the heart. He's not different from the Lord in the heart because he's empowered by Krishna to take that position. He's an avatar. Avatar means God descends into the material world, but he doesn't always descend personally. Sometimes he descends by empowering a pure devotee, and in that way, he descends before us. So the pure devotee, the spiritual master, the real spiritual master, not somebody who's spiritual master because he receives the votes of a bunch of conditioned souls calling themselves GBC. Not that kind of. He doesn't need anybody's vote. So that nonsense, foolishness, but ludicrous. Ludicrous, I look up the word in the dictionary, means so ridiculous that it's laughable. Ludicrous. That such people should pretend to be a spiritual master. So he said, your goodness, you're just as good as you can enter into our hearts. So that means that Srila Prabhupada, we can relate to him. Srila Prabhupada says, just like we would relate to Krishna, like we would relate to God, that all of us, thousands of us all over the planet can have this personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada simultaneously. Imagine his empowered position, but this is Shakti Avesha Avatar. That Shakshadaritvina Samasta Shastra, we're singing. Shakshadaritvina Samasta Shastra Ruktastataba Vyataiva Sadhi Kintu Prabhoja Priyaiva Yeah, that all the scriptures say that we can relate to him just like God and have this personal relationship. Isn't that wonderful? And learn from him what is Krishna conscious, not doing a checklist that I've done all my this, that. It's not a mechanical process, but it's a open the heart process and let him come in. Invite him, ask him, pray to him, ask him, please come. Praying at the lotus feet of our spiritual master, always desiring his mercy. We engage in our devotional service, trying to follow in his footsteps. Anuga means not following physically. Anuga means following the heart feelings of a real devotee. That's how we become devotee. That's what Prabhupadanuga means. Isn't that something? Prabhupadanuga means following his heartfelt feelings in our heart.
Right.
No, this is our philosophy. Therefore, we have to graduate. So, but can I jump immediately to having this ecstatic relationship with my spirit? We have to cultivate. Sit in front of the Murti, Sri Murti, sit in front of that picture. He says, I'm in my Murti, I'm in my picture. And therefore, that's why deity worship is so important, because we need that. We need that. And then we sit in front of that picture with enough love, with enough devotion, with enough asking, please let me feel your association. That picture will then become situated in our hearts. So when we're out doing other things, that picture will still be there alive. Yes, that picture will be gradually, that sense of association will become alive, and we'll be able to carry it, that picture, within our heart. So this is so that we cultivate. We're neophytes. We're learning how to become devotees. It's wonderful. Now there's some hope for a person. No, I'm serious. Now I feel hopeful. Before I leave this body, if I can come to this position, that's all I want. That, because it's everything. We're always looking for that, but we're looking in so many ways, and we're looking in the wrong places for this feeling of fulfillment. But what we're looking for. We're looking for our association with God through his, what is he called? What is that phrase? Yeah, no, there's another word. Srila Prabhupada's language is so beautiful. He says, it's transparent via media.
Yeah, we forget yesterday.
Here's glasses. It's transparent, but enables me to have vision, to see something. So the spiritual master is transparent via media to see God. How can we see God through Srila Prabhupada? How can we see God through Srila Prabhupada like I can see a book through these glasses? Because why is he the media, via media, transparent? He's the via media because he has love for Krishna. And if we see through him, we see through, he's the, to see through Srila Prabhupada means to imbibe the taste of his devotion, to become infected. Then when that grows enough, he'll introduce us to Krishna. Here's Krishna. Shake hands. Something like that. This is our philosophy. He's the via media. So transparent via media with such beautiful poetry.
Jai, Ishan, we've got only 20 minutes to eat breakfast before the next class.
And me, what time is it?
Hare Krishna.
It's 2:30 here in the morning.
So now you can directly check your rounds. Your checklist.
There you go.
66 10.5 rounds.
No, thank you. thank you for letting me speak to you in this way. It's so
Thank you.
nice.
All
And,
the fans.
no, really, and you're my god brothers. And I was alone for so long, so many years, because after Srila Prabhupada departed and all this craziness in this, I would say, how can you relate to these guys as a spiritual master? I said, what kind of they threatened me with violence. So what can I do? I have to leave. So I live alone for so many years. And but now I'm here with you.
Jai.
It's so nice to be with devotees. It's
Yeah.
oh, really?
Ishan Prabhu,
Yeah.
on that note, we have you not tomorrow because we're out on Harinam, but we have you the next day at 5 p.m. local time here. But there is a slot open tonight at 7:30, empty. But of course, you know, I don't know how you feel about that. You need your rest.
What time is it? 7:30. 7:30.
Basically, it's about 8 hours, 9 hours later.
11, I think, in the morning. 11 in the morning.
You know, let me just, I need a little time to do some things here. I'll meet you on the 20th. I think that's my next schedule. At 9 o'clock my time in the morning.
But I want to thank you personally also because I've been preparing to give a class about Prabhupada and I'm calling it Achintya Prabhupada, inconceivable Prabhupada. And I'm very hesitant, very like afraid. On one side afraid, on one side very excited to be able to give a talk, but each time somebody else wants to talk, I just give it to them. So I kind of run away, but you've given me the courage and the enthusiasm, the confidence to go ahead and do that. So I'll be doing.
You'll become, the more you talk, the more your energy you'll get. You'll just start like me, start shouting.
Yeah,
no,
a wonderful inspiration for me. Thank you.
Thank you. You see, I couldn't do this without you. I couldn't do this without you. No, that's the way it works. Yeah. All right. Have a wonderful breakfast.
Ishan Prabhu ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, and apologies again for giving you this difficult time.
No, you're giving me my life.
Hare Krishna. Big Hare Krishna to your wife.
Yes.
He is very tolerable.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Tolerant.